everyone, welcome back to my channel. Right, today we're going to talk about not such a pleasant thing, but I think we should all talk about it anyways. The new Netflix documentary, the Seaspiracy, has just came out recently. I didn't check exactly when it was, but a few weeks ago. Anyways, I watched it 2 times. I watched the first time out of curiosity basically, and then I watched it a second time just to do a review for you guys in case I missed something. I have my little notebook here, all the subjects that I want to go through with you, and just to talk about like what we have learned from the documentary. And there's a lot of people out there saying, oh, some things are not true, and sure, it's like when you're making a documentary about a certain subject, you kind of don't want to expand too much. So he could probably expand a bit more into different areas, and he could talk about things. And I'm certain there are places on this planet where people do fish responsibly, and where like this ecosystem can't thrive and exist together with people eating fish, and it has in the past. And that's all right, like I hear you. I hear people saying these things. And I'm coming also from a part of the Croatia where we don't have, like, I'm not from the seaside obviously, but we have the river fishes, and they're thriving there because there's no overfishing. There is not a huge demand for river fish there. There's also fish farms, and I've been to a couple of them, and they're actually pretty okay as far as I could see. Anyways, and so I am sure that on this planet there are places where this responsible fishing has been happening. And I remember also in Costa Rica where they sealed off pieces of the sea so the fish can rebound and get their numbers up. So I'm not saying that it's all black and white. And obviously the documentary is made in a way where he obviously wanted the things to be black and white, and it's for a reason, to send out a message. Because like there's plenty of ads there, as he said, with a happy fisherman driving around, and you don't see the nasty, ugly things that are happening, and there is no voice for these animals or these people that have been working as slaves, for example, in Thailand. And it's important to hear that side of the story, and it's important to make this huge impact, I think, so just the people can snap out. So for everyone on this planet saying, oh, there's a lot of fish, there's enough food for all of us, it is true. But let's think about this, okay? It's a simple mathematics. And I think about this all the time when I was working in retail, so I was working in food chains, and I was looking at what people are eating, and it was, I was bored a lot of times. So I would look at the person, and I would look at their bodies, the health state, the way they are, and I would check what they're eating. It's a very curious thing. But then I started thinking, okay, so right, there's almost 8 billion people on this planet. And if all of us want a piece of meat, whether that's meat from the pigs or from cows or from sheep, or it's fish 3 times a day, how can we have that happening? It's not possible. And one of the reasons why you can't enjoy that steak or that piece of the fish on your plate is because someone else somewhere in the world can't. And as much as you want to make up an explanation for this, or to figure out the thing that you're going to say to yourself, the reasons why this is okay, why it's okay to have that steak on your plate, or it's okay to have that fish on your plate, I think honestly we should all just accept the responsibility of what that piece of meat or that piece of fish is making, and the way it's impacting the planet. And this documentary is made in a way to snap you out of your dream, because you need to know where your food is coming from. And I'm saying that as well for the fruit and vegetables. Like I don't know how many of you are checking the labels and things. Sorry, I see it's already 6 minutes into it and I'm not even talking about the bloody documentary. I am so sorry. Let's see this. Yeah, let's talk about plastic pollution first, right? Because there was a lot of fuss about plastic pollution, and a lot of it was thanks to David Attenborough for bringing the consciences about the plastic pollution, because that's another thing we're not thinking about, you know, like when you're thinking about all the stuff that you're buying, like I don't know if you guys recycle, but I recycle and I try to do as much as I can. But if you check the local recycling guidelines, and it's probably different from Ireland than it's for other countries, but here you don't recycle really a lot. Like we recycle, I don't know, like the plastic bottles and the paper, and you know, everything has to be washed and clean and dried, and I wonder how many people do really do these things. And there's a lot of things that are not recycled. For example, the single-use plastic bags that are everywhere, and they're not even being recycled. Single-use plastic, the plastic bags, plastic straws and things like that are constantly, you know, in the main major news about everything. I don't know, like I live in Ireland, okay, I live close to the sea, like the sea is like 5 minutes from where I live. And if I take a walk on the beach, because there's a major oyster farm here where I'm living, and there's this like plastic containers where they keep the baby oysters, and they put them in the sea, and because the sea is so stormy, like this is Atlantic Ocean, these plastic bags wash out onto the shore full of oysters. And you would think, okay, someone's gonna pick them up, because I keep on pulling them out of the sea and leaving them, you know, like far away from the ocean so they can pick up their shit, right? They never do. They never do. I see a lot of fishing equipment as well on the beach, and nobody's picking up after themselves. And I can definitely agree that a lot of rubbish that I find on the local beaches in Ireland is fishing gear. And the oyster kind of, it looks like a big envelope where they're keeping these things. There was a big storm recently here, and a lot of these bags washed up onto the shore. Nobody came to pick them up. It's absolutely ridiculous. The way I can see they're farming oysters here, I don't see they're feeding them with anything. Basically, I can see them putting like the baby oysters in like these big envelopes, and then they just keep them in the sea until they grow up to the certain level. And this area of Ireland, I'm not going to mention it, which one it is, was very popular for oysters, but then they got to the brink of extinction. So what they do, they import baby oysters from China to grow them here. It's sad, really. There's no fish in the sea. There's no fish here. I did my share of diving, and there's nothing down there. There's nothing down there. It is very, very sad. I used to eat a lot of fish, like I thought the fish was a healthy alternative, right? So I eat a lot of canned tuna, and I always made sure that the label there is sustainable. And obviously, like, I'm not eating fish anymore, I'm vegan, but I feel so kind of silly for myself for doing that. The documentary really hit me hard, honestly, at some point, especially when it got to the end, to the Faroe Islands, where they were killing whales, and just the blood in the water, and just I started crying, and I was like, I wanted to kind of stop myself from crying, but at a certain point I was like, I wanted to cry for these animals. Like, I felt like it is an only decent thing that I can do is just to cry for them. And I don't stop myself from crying anymore, because it's so very upsetting, right? It's the same thing when I'm driving beside the field and I see the baby lambs playing, and they're so beautiful and so playful. There is so much innocence in them, and it's so beautiful. And then I do remember what's gonna happen with them, and I just cry for them. And that's what I do at this point. Like, the only thing I can do is just not to eat them and just cry for them. And maybe be a voice in the end for them. I do love all the animals on this planet, even the spiders, which I'm so scared of. But I don't kill them. I put them in a glass and I take them out. And it's very sad what's happening to Africa as well. It's like, I don't know if you guys checked the labels of the food that you're getting. So a lot of fruit and veg that I am buying, I always can check where they're coming from. And there's a lot of like berries and strawberries and stuff like that that are coming from Africa. And I always wonder when I'm taking these things, how much are they paying the producers to actually produce this food? And how much money are they getting? And can they really survive on these things? And here you buy it for 2-3 euro, and you know it's easy to get to that money, and it's easily accessible to you. And it's not even your product, you know, it's not even made or grown for you. It's not grown from your land. And the same with what is happening to fish, basically. You know, you have fish grown in some part of the world, and you're buying it, and it's not even your right to eat it. And there's like Somalian people there that you have seen in the boats begging for a piece of food that is rightfully theirs. I think there's a lot of consciousness growing regarding to what is really happening in the world, and the people have the right to know. At the end of the day, it is your responsibility, your decision, what you're going to do with that information. But I hate the way that the fishing industries, a lot of people have been trying to boycott these things, like, and it's all about money. It's all about the profit, of course it is. And it's all about the profit of few and the suffering of a lot. I'm not talking only about animals here, I'm talking about people, humans, people like you and me. You know, what divides me from another person born on the other side of the globe? It's only the fact that I was born where I was. So I've seen an article recently about some lady in Africa that was born with a genetic mutation. She has blue eyes. She's beautiful. Her kids were also born with blue eyes, and the husband dumped her, and they all think she's a witch. And I was thinking, if she was born in Europe, she could have been a supermodel and earning loads of money and being super popular, but she was born in Africa where people think she's a witch. There's a lot of inequality in the world, and it's not only about humans, it's also about animals, and I just have to be aware of these things, and then we can possibly make decisions according to that and maybe make some better decisions. I'm not saying that we need to be perfect, but if we would all just make few different decisions, and that's what he was saying, you know, like we can't think that if we only buy a can of tuna that's responsibly sourced because it makes us feel better to do so. It's just, I know we all suffer from guilt, and we don't want to feel guilty. We don't want to be responsible. We don't want to feel like part of some global industry killing whales or dolphins, but unfortunately sometimes we are. So if you watch the documentary, tell me what you think, and hopefully things like that are gonna raise up the global consciousness and bring about that better world that we all dream about. Yeah, hopefully. Tell me what you think. Anyways, I would like to make a couple of other videos about other documentaries, so I'm just kind of curious about if you've seen the documentary, what you think. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you soon.